All right, our top story now. Trinamool Congress leader Mahua Moitra was expelled from the Lok Sabha today amidst high drama in the House. Earlier in the day, the Ethics Committee report was tabled in the cash for query charges against her. Mahua Moitra was accused of taking bribes, including 2 crore in cash and luxury gift items from businessman Darshan Hiranandani in exchange for asking questions that were critical of the Narendra Modi government in Parliament. Moitra was also accused of surrendering her login credentials to a confidential account on the parliamentary website so Mr. Hiranandani could pose questions directly. A fiery critic of the Modi government, Moitra has however denied the bribery charges but admitted to sharing the login details. Now in Parliament we heard first Congress members Hiranandani Chaudhary and Manish Tiwari speaking out and saying that give us some time. It's a 500-page report that has been tabled. What's the hurry? Why must we try another member of Parliament in this manner, claiming that this is wrong and we cannot, we can't be a judge and jury over this entire matter. Lots of reactions. Trinamool Congress also coming out defending Mahua Moitra and saying and asking why she cannot be allowed to speak. This was the other big issue that kept getting raised by the opposition, saying that allow Mahua Moitra to speak in her defense. She wasn't allowed to speak. The opposition walked out and then the voting took place where she was expelled then from Parliament. But after exiting the Lok Sabha, Mahua Moitra stood on the steps and read out a statement. She was flanked by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and many of the opposition members and her own party there rallying around her.
This Lok Sabha has also seen the weaponization of a parliamentary committee. Ironically, the Ethics Committee, which was set up to serve as a moral compass for members. Instead, it has been abused egregiously today to do exactly what it was never meant to do, which is to bulldoze the opposition and become another weapon to talk-though us into submission. This committee and this report has broken every rule in the book. In essence, you are finding me guilty of breaching a code of ethics that does not exist.
In the parliament, they lay the report, and after that they gave half an hour time to all the parties, including BJP, to discuss the matter and to expel Mahua Moitra. I don't understand how the members will go through 495 pages within this half an hour and how all the speakers will take a decision.
फिर से 406 पेजेस है, तो आप ये कहिए कि कोई मनुष्यों की इतना क्षमता है कि इतना जल्दबाजी में सारे पेपर पढ़ ले और उसके अंदर कोई गलतियां है, कोई उस बारीकी से जानकारी लेने में वो कोई कामयाब हो सकते हैं? अब बताइए, ये जिसके खिलाफ कोई मतलब शिकायत है, ये नेचुरल जस्टिस कहते हैं, उनको बोलने का मौका देना चाहिए. जैसे कि महुआ मोइत्रा को नाम लिए गए, जिक्र किए गए, उनके खिलाफ शिकायतें हैं, तो उनको तो कम से कम बोलने का मौका देना चाहिए नहीं? आप खुद बताइए सर.
मैं निश्चित तौर पर बोलना चाहूंगी कि सर 3 बैठकें हुई और इन 3 बैठकों में इन्हें समुचित समय दिया गया, बोलने का अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड दिया गया, लेकिन सर इन्होंने बदतमीजी की, इन्होंने असंवैधानिक शब्दों का प्रयोग किया, वॉकआउट कर गई.
All right, let's go across now to Vasudha for more on Mahua Moitra and its political implications. Saurav Gupta joining us from Mahua Moitra's constituency in West Bengal, Krishna Nagar. First, Vasudha, to you, so a lot of dramatic scenes, Congress asking for more time, Trinamool asking why can't Mahua speak in her defense, but finally opposition walking out and she has been expelled from Parliament. But those visuals after that of the opposition rallying around her, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi standing right next to her on the steps as she read out the statement.
Absolutely, Gargi. Traumatic day today, and I see this as a culmination of the cash for query scam that's been playing out since October 15th, when Nishikant Dubey was a BJP MP from Jharkhand and Jayanant Dehadra, was a Delhi-based lawyer, flagged these very serious concerns against Mahua Moitra, was a TMC MP, of taking bribes and cash from Darshan Hiranandani, an industrialist, to basically ask questions on his behalf, perpetuating the interests of this company. Now, Ethics Committee report, the allegations are very, very serious of unethical conduct, of breach of parliamentary privilege, of quid pro quo and, more importantly, illegal gratification. I think these are such important allegations, are very serious in nature, which is why MPs will also find it very difficult to completely support her, which is why I think while today's protest that happened was a show of solidarity, I'm not very sure how, how long term is that going to be, because of course Mamata Banerjee has come out and spoken in support of her, but she said that she's a victim of circumstances. She responded a few days ago, but that also came after a long silence by her. And today, if you look at tweets by BJP MPs, including of Amit Malviya, who is the BJP co-prabhari of West Bengal, he's clearly also saying that TMC needs to sort of sack Mahua Moitra, because otherwise it would seem like the party was in collusion with what she did. Now, of course, we can question. A section can question how the way ethics committee went about it, but clearly the allegations that the committee has raised are very serious in nature. And remember that IT Ministry, MEA and Home Ministry have also given submissions, and there is a very strong letter by MEA saying that there are over 47 logins from from Dubai, and Ms. Moitra does not have any answer to this, and she has basically admitted to sharing her login credentials. And there is also proof of illegal gratification. The CBI that's already looking into the criminality aspect of it, which is why I think she finds herself in a sticky position. Today, the drama did play out with people like Hina Gavit and Aparajita Sarangi speaking from the BJP point of view, and they made sure to talk about this women aspect. They said that, just because she is a woman, it doesn't give her the right to play the victim card, because women have to be also accountable for propriety, and they are also public representatives, and they have certain duties to fulfill as MPs. So that is one thing that they said. In the opposition, of course, Manish Tiwari questioned how can somebody read the entire report in 2 hours and sort of respond. He also basically questioned the ambit of the ethics committee, something that has already come up, but we remember that in 2014 rules got changed, and ethics committee does have a larger ambit to look at ethical issues of MPs now, clearly. So, and 2005 incident of 11 MPs being sacked in a similar case was also brought up by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, and he said that even in that case the accused MPs were not given a chance to speak, which is why there is no precedent. And time and again everyone in the BJP, at least in the government, made sure to say that there was appropriate, adequate time given to all stakeholders, which include Mr. Dehadra, Mr. Dubey, and of course Ms. Moitra. Ms. Moitra, of course, was not, she did not complete that meeting. She stormed out of it, and she accused people of asking filthy questions to her, which was also later contested by other members. So clearly, now that she has been expelled, it doesn't mean that she will not be able to contest elections. Even in that 2005 case, many of the 11 MPs who had been suspended could, contest elections, but they could not win. So clearly, she can contest elections. There is also judicial remedy, but as of now, the parliament story of Ms. Moitra seems to have, seen a certain end.
That's right. And Mahua Moitra expelled from the Lok Sabha. But what do people in her constituency think and her party? Let's go across to Saurabh. And Saurabh, it was interesting to see Mamata Banerjee coming out in, her support. Though, as Vasudha pointing out, the charges against Mahua Moitra are of a very, very serious nature. Tell us, what are the kind of reactions you've been getting there?
Well, I think Mamata Banerjee dropped a very broad hint saying, I don't see any reason why she cannot be an Lok Sabha candidate. And that perhaps sums it up as to what the Trinamool is thinking. Mamata Banerjee is the supremo, her word is the final word. And if she sees no barrier in Mahua Moitra becoming a candidate, then there is a very little, sort of opposition to her becoming a candidate from the TMC. And that is, of course, something that one would take away from Mamata Banerjee's comment on Mahua Moitra's LS candidature, Lok Sabha candidature. Now, I've been here in Krishnanagar. If you speak to voters, nobody wants to come on record. Everybody wants to stay away from politics. But I did speak to a Congress leader, and he gave me a very interesting scenario. He said that while, the local Congress leaders have been saying that there's no alliance, including the Congress president, PCC president, what has happened today is that the Congress has fully stood behind Mahua Moitra. And if the Indian alliance is in force, then it is quite sure that this seat will go to the TMC. And if that happens, he also goes on to say the Congress will fully have to back her. And therefore, that is why perhaps you see the statements that have been made. Because remember, Lok Sabha elections are less than 6 months away. In less than 6 months, we would have had those Lok Sabha elections. So, in that context, it is very, very important to note what's being said by voters, who want to stay away from politics but say, look, irrespective of performance, we need an MP. We need someone to carry our voice to Parliament. But beyond that, the politics at the local level is certainly, especially if you look at the Congress and the TMC, the left, of course, isn't a part of, the India Alliance in West Bengal. They made it very clear. But if the Congress and the TMC have a seat-sharing deal, then one can at least presume that Mamata Banerjee has dropped a broad hint about Mahua Moitra's candidature from her comments today.
All right. Thanks so much, Vasudha and Saurav, for joining us, with all those developments that have taken place today. Well, to talk more about it, we're also now joined by Ashwini Dubey, advocate of the Supreme Court, and Sanjay Jha, political analyst. Ashwini Dubey, first to you, your comments on what took place. Mahua Moitra has called this ethics panel. She said it was a kangaroo court. She's spoken about how she wasn't allowed to cross-examine anyone in Parliament as well in the Lok Sabha. We heard, Manish Tiwari saying that this goes against natural justice. Trinamool Congress asking that Mahua Moitra at least be allowed to speak, before she's being expelled from a house where the people have elected her.
Gargi, the Parliament or Ethics Committee is not the court where the Criminal Procedure Code, Code of Civil Procedure or Evidence Act will apply. It is a process and the mode and manner of investigation is to be decided by the Ethics Committee, the 15 members Ethics Committee, which was formed within the constitutional domain. Now, second, Gargi, so far as the questions about being victimization or being it a kangaroo court, it's a quasi-judicial authority. It's not a kangaroo court. And it has been in past also, if you remember in Rajaram Pal's case, the same precedent, same process, same thing has happened, and that the Supreme Court has upheld it. And the Supreme Court said that, look, the decision taken by the parliamentary committee is not available for the judicial review. Now, third point, these specific queries were asked by the ethics committee. I have gone through the report. One of the question was the query as to whether sharing login credentials of Lok Sabha amounts to violation of Information Technology Act and also breach of the privilege of Article 105 of the Constitution of India. What the former member of Parliament, Mahua Moitra, has replied, this is not an email access and password. She said the main thing is the supervised access. Second thing is that the Official Secrets Act does not apply here. So these are the answers, despite the fact that the not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but the 47 times.
Right.
As per the report of Information Technology, IT Ministry, 47 times the login ID and password were compromised and used from a person who is having the business nexus, who has a business rivalry sitting abroad. Now, third, the query, the specific query I'm reading from the report. The report says that whether accepting cash or kind above certain ceiling limits amounts to violation of the provisions of Prevention of Corruption Act. What she replied, she says, no, a person can have friends anywhere. This is allowed, that is allowed to us. And that is what this kind of reply means, that she has not denied. Now coming to the fourth aspect. So far as the affidavit submitted by the Darshan Hiranandani, duly attested by the Consulate General, that itself shows that what the allegations were labeled by the Jayanand Dehadrai, that has a credentials that were having the prima facie evidences, and cross-examination does not arise. Cross-examination would have been arise if she would have said, no, I did not have any access or any relationship or any kind with the Darshan Hiranandani. So here, a person who is having the constitutional privilege, a person who has the login ID and password to ask the questions in the general interest, the national interest.
And also the issue is today what happened in the Lok Sabha, just, the fact that it was, Ethics Committee report was tabled and before you knew it, they were already voting on it. Congress asking, give us some more time at least. It's a 500-page report. Let us go through it. Trinamool Congress saying, at least let us speak. Sanjay Jha, your comments on what took place today.
Gargi, good evening, and it's good to be back on your program again after a long time. I would like to make a few short points. I mean, today you saw Indian democracy being hung upside down in broad daylight. This is what is called as the murder of democracy. This is bloodshed moment. And I'll tell you why. This is the same parliament where 43% of the members of parliament have a criminal record. By the way, almost 15% of them have serious criminal charges. Look at the irony of the conversation. You have Ramesh Bidhuri, who in the new parliament made the most repugnant, reprehensible remarks against one of the minority communities of India. I don't even have the audacity to utter the language he did. What has the BJP done with the man? The so-called show cause notice. Has the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, said a word? The answer is no. Let me give you another example. Brij Bhushan Singh, accused of being a sexual predator, is out there. Everything is okay. The BJP doesn't seem to care. And here are the points that I think we need to pay attention to, Gargi. Number one, Mahua is on record, not just today, but she's been saying it consistently, that the kind of language, the misogyny, or the kind of what I call as almost patriarchal language which was used against her at the ethics committee, I think that itself requires a separate investigation. You have a BJP that says we won Madhya Pradesh because of our Ladli Behna scheme, but this is the same party, Gargi, that when Manipur happened and that horrible gang rape happened, they tried to hide it from all of us. This is the same government. When the women wrestlers were protesting in the streets of Delhi, had nothing to say. So you can see the hypocrisy out there in the open. And the last two technical points, I think Mahua has a valid case. She says, where is the evidence establishing that there is some kind of a money trail in the form of a kickback or bribe? You know, in one of the cases where the businessman friend gave her something, she said so herself. I mean, that is not considered to be an act of criminality. Point number two, and this is equally important, that end of day, how can you say that the login done by her is a betrayal of national security? I think, when there are no rules, established protocol to determine that as a violation of such magnitude, how has the BJP taken this call? And I think, end of day, I would like to demand as an ordinary citizen of India, including asking the lawyer who's on the panel today, why don't we investigate all the members of parliament as of today and find out whether they have appointed some intermediary to access their password?
Right. Well, Ashwini Dubey, you can, reply on that. And also we heard that intervention by the JDU member who said he doesn't even know how to use the computer and he gives it to his own office person. But having said that, yes, the charges against Mahua of a very serious nature, Ashwini Dubey, but it did seem, that she wasn't even allowed to speak for that 10 minutes. That was something that, everybody did see. And the fact that a whip was issued, the entire BJP members were asked to be in the house today. And now we know that it was over this Mahua Moitra expulsion.
Gargi, this is to be decided by the Lok Sabha speaker, who was the master of conducting the procedure.
Yes.
If the business of transaction rules provides the person who has been expelled by the majority committee recommendations, and recommendations the committee has suggested that there are serious lapses so far as the violation, so far as the breach of privilege of constitutional immunity is concerned. Because the parliament was, just remember, Gargi, with due respect to my dear friend Mr. Sanjay Jha, parliament was not, the ethics committee was not examining the criminality. Ethics committee had two questions before it. One, the unethical conduct and conduct of the house by Mahua Moitra by sharing her Lok Sabha login credentials to a person who is not who does not have any concern with the business. Second, unethical conduct and contempt of the house. Gargi. That was decided by taking the report.
All right, but just not allowed that 10 minutes to a house where she was, elected by the people of India. Sanjay Jha, I have to wrap up quickly. Make your point.
I just want to make a short point. You can debate it another time. They are accusing her of trying to actually be the front for Mr. Mirchandani or whatever his name is. Here is my point. Yeah. This is a real vindictive government. This is a vindictive government. How can a leader of an opposition be able to get a businessman favors or policy changes from a current government which will never like any businessman associating with a rival opposition MP? I mean, the whole logic is bizarre and totally outrageous. I think the allegation of quid pro quo will be, I'm sure, not just challenged in the courts, but I think this matter needs to be considered by...
Well, we do know now the CBI is going to be, doing a preliminary...
as to destroy a member of parliament.
All right. Well, we do know the CBI is going to be doing a preliminary, probe. But thank you so much, both Ashwini Dubey and Sanjay Jha, for joining us on the program.